Hey everybody, Scavenger here. Welcome back to the channel. I am playing a game called Kidnapped Girl. Yup, that's right. You heard me correctly. Kidnapped Girl. It is another visual novel. And we are going to get into the game to figure out exactly what it's about. The day I turned 17, I kidnapped a girl. Her name was Alice. Sociability was not the main feature of her character. In class, she was always quiet, especially with no one to talk to. A girl like her was not difficult to pull out for a date after school. In the process, she readily agreed to come home with me, where I gave her some juice laced with sleeping pills. Alice fell asleep in just a few minutes. It's my first kidnapping. Not a bad beginning. Everything went according to plan, although with the dosage, I went too far. I lived with my uncle. His house was too big for just the two of us, so some of the rooms were empty. My uncle said for a long time that he wanted to rent them out, but he didn't post any ads, so I used one of them as my torture chamber. Of course, he didn't know that. Edward was the name of my uncle. He rarely went into the empty room. The only key card to the room was settled in my pocket. Edward always came home late, so today I had plenty of time to have fun with my new toy. When I locked myself in the room with Alice, I felt a wave of heat sweep through my body. My hands were sweaty as I began to crawl along the rope. My gaze darted hungrily from the sharp blade on the white skin of the motionless body and back again. I licked my lips in anticipation. Simultaneously, with the excitement, bad thoughts came to my head. I looked back at the closed door. Did I make a mistake? Did everything go well? I shook my head, shaking off my misgivings, and set about the task I had long dreamed of. The only thing that matters now is that it's just the two of us, and that we won't be disturbed for the next few hours. I was getting excited about what was coming. Putting my tools aside, I sat down next to Alice, putting my hand on her thin, fragile leg. I ran my hand up her thigh, touching the edge of her short skirt. I need to take off her clothes, otherwise it will only prevent me from enjoying the work done. Button by button, I slowly removed her shirt and froze in disbelief. There were bruises and other signs of beatings under her clothes. I didn't hit her, so I couldn't have left those bruises. Where did they come from? Is she being beaten at home? After all, she was only beaten where the clothes could hide the bruises to avoid being seen by strangers. It seemed that Alice was regularly bullied. In some places, there were flesh bruises filled with blood, and others disgusting blackened spots. The older ones were slowly dissolving. I can't even imagine how hard and painful it is to move in this state. But she came to school every day and even smiled in rare conversations with her classmates. Perhaps she decided to go with me so that she could return home as late as possible. These thoughts made the desire to hurt her disappear. But I didn't change my mind, no. A strange feeling in my heart was probably not pity, but disappointment. After all, psychos like me can't feel pity and can't empathize with others. When I kidnapped Alice, I wanted to enjoy her suffering, to see the first drop of blood on her smooth white skin. And now, I can't get what I want. Her body is covered in injuries without my effort. It's like asking for a sweet birthday cake and getting a stale, moldy cupcake. How can I fill Alice with pain and horror when she is already being bullied? After thinking about it, I decided to hide all the torture items that could indicate the real reason for the abduction. And when Alice wakes up, I'll send her home and find a better victim next time. Finally, Alice opens her eyes. Let's ask her. As soon as she regained consciousness, I rushed to her, feigning concern. Oh, you're awake. Are you all right? Does it hurt anywhere? When we were sitting down, you suddenly fainted and I... However, Alice was in no hurry to show excitement. Instead, she got up, looked around, closed her eyes for a second, and then looked directly at me.
Ты усыпил меня.
Those words froze me for a second. How did she know about that? What are you talking about? I told you. You just passed out.
Раз усыпляли. Так что мне знакомо чувство, когда я начинаю засыпать после снотворного.
Put to sleep? I was more taken back by this news than when Alice said that I had drugged her.
Забудь.
Okay.
В любом случае, зачем ты усыпил меня? Ты что-то сделал со мной?
Alice touched herself between her legs without lifting her skirt. Hey, I didn't do anything wrong to you. She took her hand away.
Ты прав.
Okay, she believes me.
Зачем?
I told
Я
you.
знаю, что ты усыпил меня. Перестань увиливать от ответа.
Okay. I didn't know what to say. The awkwardness of the situation increased with every second. I didn't know what to do or what to say. It was necessary to change the subject urgently and try to take control of the situation. Where did you get those bruises?
Так ты меня раздевал?
Oh, okay.
Я поняла.
Okay.
Фотографии.
Oh, she thinks I took pictures of her. Okay. Yeah, what photos?
Фотографии моего тела.
No, I didn't undress you or take pictures of you. Trust me.
Тогда почему ты усыпил меня?
Very good question indeed, Alice. Very good question indeed. That is not true at all. And you still haven't answered my question.
Скажу только после того, как услышу правду.
Okay. I hesitated. Should I tell the truth? Something like, oh, I'm sorry, I just wanted to torture you at home, but it's okay. I've already changed my mind, so you can go home? No, this is nonsense. Then I'm not sure if it'll work, but it's worth a try. You know, lowering his eyes and stammering, he pretended to be very confused. The only way to get out of this situation, which would go without suspicion, is to come up with a sufficiently touching story. As far as I know, girls are more emotional and romantic than boys. I like you. And for long, I have had the desire to kidnap a loved one. So I decided on my birthday to make myself a gift. It's very weird. Rubbing my hand, I continued to stare at the floor without looking up.
Да кто в такое поверит?
I don't know, it's kind of weird.
Погоди, ты
Wait.
любишь меня?
Oh, wait, she just realized I said that I loved her. I nodded uncertainly.
Я кому-то понравилась.
The recent wariness and anger disappeared smoothly. She smiled and her eyes lit up. It worked. Well, my lie worked. Although I must admit, I did not expect much success and was already preparing to reduce a kidnapping to a mocking joke. To laugh in her face, call her a naive fool for believing that such a handsome man like me can truly ask a mild-mannered girl like her out. Then rudely take her to the door after dealing with several insulting phrases thrown at me. After this farewell, it is not that I could just go back and talk to her anytime soon. I must admit that Alice is not as simple as it seemed. I didn't manage to deceive her the first time, although I'm an experienced liar. But how could she immediately believe that I loved her? While I was wondering at her naivety, she thought about something for a couple seconds in silence.
Получается, меня похитил мой одноклассник, который еще и сумасшедший.
Her voice has become more soft. I would even say
А
melodious.
что ты хотел сделать дальше?
Oh. Well, I wanted to let you live with me, probably.
Наверное? А ты не все продумал, да?
Huh. Guess not. There's nothing funny about it. I frowned slightly, which confused my former captive.
Прости. Я просто всегда думала, что ты невероятен. У тебя отличные оценки по всем предметам. Ты занимаешь призовые места.
Oh. So I'm kind of,
Не подумала, что...
maybe a popular guy in school, or at least very well off as far as grades and everything, and all, like, seems like in every area of school I'm doing well. Cool.
А еще не думала, что все-таки ты немного глуп.
Huh. Rude. And this is said by the person who was kidnapped.
Обижаешь.
We laughed. The tension has disappeared. Alice relaxed and began to behave more freely and at ease. At school, she usually doesn't attract attention. During recess, she rarely leaves the classroom, sitting at her desk with her head down or silently looking out the window. In general, an inconspicuous gray mouse. And now, I even catch myself thinking that she has a very nice smile. School, hobbies, music. We move smoothly from one topic to the other, consciously not thinking about the kidnapping, and did not notice how time flew by. The longer we talked, the more free Alice felt. She listened to me with genuine interest, sometimes even making various jokes in my direction and laughing sincerely. I listened to her stories, and sometimes I couldn't help but smile. I got the feeling that the Alice who goes to school with me and the Alice who is sitting next to me are two different people. I never thought Alice could be so sociable and happy. The next few hours passed quickly. We chatted about all sorts of nonsense. I was an idiot. It's late. I think it's time for you to go home. Your parents are probably already worried. My words made Alice suddenly sad. Her smile and the sparkle in her eyes were gone. It's like she's back in the ghost mask she's always wore at school.
У меня нет родителей.
Oh. Sorry. Then who do you live with?
С мачехой и ее ухажером.
Starting to make sense. Starting to make sense. She almost hissed the last words through her teeth. It was immediately clear to me that things were not going well at home. My guess was confirmed. The family does not favor her very much. Alice continued to sit next to me, not wanting to leave. I was silent and just looked at the time on my phone. Edward should be back soon, and if he sees Alice, I will have to explain. He's a good man and will be happy if I bring a girl home, but Alice is not my girlfriend. I just kidnapped her and tried to torture. Minding and hiding her in another room with a gag in her mouth is one thing, but to explain what Alice was doing and how we met, I didn't want to. Seeing my confusion, she stopped. Alice glanced at me briefly, then, for a moment, pursed her lips and, with a sharp exhale, stood up.
Прости, ты ведь не один живешь, а я и так задержалась.
Sorry. She went to the door with a noticeable reluctance. It was raining outside. Before leaving, Alice turned around saying the last words.
Знаешь, я была бы не против, если бы ты действительно похитил меня. С тобой уютнее.
And she left. So it have ended, but a couple hours later, Alice returned. The doorbell rang.
Клайв, пожалуйста,
Aw.
похити меня.
Oh. After voicing her insane request and holding her bag with a trembling hand, she smiled. And cried. The smile on her face was just an artificial dam ready to collapse at any moment under the influx of emotions, unable to contain the accumulated sadness, loneliness, and despair. What happened to her? Why is she crying? Such questions did not linger in my mind for long because the way she looked now, her pain drew and beckoned. Her vulnerability and tears seemed to cry, lock me away from people, and do what you want to me. On my doorstep stood not a sad classmate, but a victim begging her executioner to put her out of her misery. Alright guys, this is a very interesting story, and I don't know where it's gonna go. But if you want to see more of it, smash that like button. Let me know what you think of this intro to the game. And if you want to see more, we'll do more. So go ahead and, like I said, smash that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.